Since moving to Hollywood at age 17, Steve Guttenberg has thrived in TV and film, but he also took on an unexpected role, off-screen caretaker.
After his father was diagnosed with kidney failure, Steve stepped up to help. For a journey he chronicles in his new book, Time to Thank, Caregiving for My Hero. And Steve joins us now. Welcome.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Steve, this is such a beautiful tribute to your father.
Thank you.
I mean, he was a vet, he was your hero.
Yeah.
Describe your relationship with him.
My dad was my best friend. We grew up in Brooklyn, Borough Park, Flushing, Queens, and then Massapequa, Long Island. You're from Mineola.
Yeah.
And I had a great childhood with my dad. My dad was wonderful. He was strong, but he was kind. He was loving, and he was fun. We went to Route 110 to Adventureland all the time, Smiley's Happy Land. We went to Pergament. We went shopping together.
Oh, my goodness.
You remember Pergament?
Heck yeah, I haven't heard that in ages.
Yeah,
I love it. You talk about Grumman, you talk about Roosevelt Field, which is still thriving. And eventually, yeah, it was great to
My dad was a great
stories.
dad. Like your dad, we were talking about.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're lucky and you get a great dad. And he was my best friend. And he helped me when I was a little boy do all the things that I needed to do. And when he got older and got ill, I felt that I wanted to help him do what he needed to get done, drive in places, take care of him, and eventually cannulate him actually for dialysis and take care of him. But what happens is you become a caretaker. And there are 53 million caretakers in our country. Lots of them here in the state of New York, right here in the city, Long Island and Staten Island. Everybody knows somebody who's taking care of somebody. Sure. And we need to talk about that because it's a very lonely profession. You're sitting there with someone who's ill, and it's just the two of you. So that's why it's great to talk with you about it, about my book, about people that caretakers can connect with other caretakers, and that's why I wrote it.
What are some of the things that you got to learn during the whole process with your dad that you want to share with the world?
Well, you have to learn how to be patient and kind, and people who are ill move slowly. They eat at certain times. If you're a caretaker, you eat when they eat. Sometimes they don't wake up till 11 in the morning, and they eat breakfast at 12 in the afternoon. That's when you have to. They sleep when they sleep, you sleep. Yeah. And sometimes people who are not well wake up in the middle of the night. You have to get up in the middle of the night and try to soothe them and take care of them. Being a caretaker means giving all the love you have inside you to somebody else. That's what a caretaker is.
It's a very relatable story for a lot of people out there.
It is.
Now, you also beautifully weave in your stories of acting and your experience in Hollywood. I mean, you mentioned being on the set of Diner to Short Circuit, which is one of my favorite films growing up, so I love that part. Did your dad have any favorites?
My dad loved Hollywood. My mom and dad always said, at any time, you can take your marbles and go home. I actually still feel that way. But my dad, I was on a set one time doing a pilot where I had to jump from my stunt double had to jump from 30 feet. But my dad was a U.S. Army Ranger. He was a paratrooper. So my dad said, I could do that jump. And years ago, so the stunt coordinator said, do you want to do the jump, Stanley? And he said, yeah. So they hooked him up, and he jumped, and actually, it was right in front of Blake Edwards, and Julie Andrews was there. Yeah. He got to meet Julie Andrews. My dad loved Hollywood. He loved the thrill of it, but he also had perspective. He understood it was a job, and you have to put everything in perspective.
Well, the Police Academy turned 40 years.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
what
right.
are you doing to celebrate it? How are you paying more of a tribute to
just
your dad?
Cashing the checks.
Yeah.
Just cashing the checks. That's all.
Let's do it together.
I'm sorry, everybody. I'm just superficial that way. No, you know what? I was so lucky to get Police Academy.
Yeah.
It was actually between me and another amazing actor named David Naughton. And he sang, he danced, he was handsome, he was unbelievable.
But you got it.
For some reason, they chose me, but I got to tell you something. In the screen test, David Naughton was better.
All right, well, we have lots more to read. You have so many great stories. So Time to Thank, Caregiving for My Hero comes out May 21st, and catch Steve in conversation with Tony Danza at the 92nd Street Y, May 21st at 6 p.m. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for plugging the 92nd Street Y.